art nerds. Today we are doing a tutorial slash demonstration on doing thumbnails for an illustration. And these thumbnails are for a commission that I am working on. And the commissioner requested their character, who is a young male Lilliputian, a little younger than Kara, hanging out with Kara. So I've already done the character design for him. And you guys can check out the tutorial for that by clicking the card here. So I'm going to get started by just kind of breaking my lead, you know, how you get started in any commission. Go ahead and get started by kind of boxing out some shapes. Now the finished piece would be like 8 by 10, probably horizontal. And I'd initially pitched Kara and his character Wang Yu sharing a cookie. I just thought that would be really, really cute. And the reason I'm doing thumbnails is I'm going to do a few iterations of this idea because, you know, my first iteration is usually not the best iteration. And do it on a kitchen table, so like salt and pepper shakers in the background, and maybe one of those stupid napkin holder things. Those come in like a million shapes and sizes, so whatever. And sometimes I'll do my brainstorming in written form rather than in sketch form because I tend to think verbally rather than visually. So it's easier for me to think a scenario out in my head than it is to visualize one, which I know is strange. I'm a comic artist, but I started as a writer. So that's just what works best for me. And rather than pushing myself to do something that isn't natural, I found it's best to go with what's natural for you. Try standing up. And I also find that when I do thumbnails, I tend to pull in way too close. So it's another reason I do thumbnails is I will digitally zoom out and rescale. And your thumbnails can also be super sketchy and loose. Even if you're working with a client, usually if you can provide like a written explanation of what's going on, the thumbnail is just to sort of help them see it. So the combination of the two, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. And here's a really silly one that probably won't work, of him handing down a cookie and she's grabbing it, and that's probably way too scaled in. But it's much more visually interesting than some of these because there's more action going on, it's more dynamic. So we'll try pulling out. The problem with this, the reason this wouldn't necessarily work, is it's reliant on some things that, like, he would be so high up if he was on a table ledge, for example. Now, in our correspondence, I have found out that Wang Yu, the male character that I'm drawing with Kara, is more of a towny Lilliputian, and Kara is kind of more of a traditional Lilliputian. So I'm trying to draw them more in a house sort of setting, because that would be, you know, where he's more comfortable. That's more his life. But they could also kind of like hang out on the edge of like a flower bed, and that would kind of combine both of their worlds, because a flower bed implies humans, but is still natural and outside. Not that I'm like super set on Kara being outside, that kind of thing. So these would be like the bricks, and then I could have something else going on in the foreground maybe. But I'm trying to push it so that we're kind of telling a story, but it's also still easy to read at a glance. And once I've kind of generated enough thumbnails that I feel like it gives the customer something to, oh, it'd be cute if they were like rolling the cookie and running, you know, like it's like a hoop. I know. Anyway, I'm trying to generate enough thumbnails that it gives the customer something. It'd also be cute to draw them kind of doing a heist together. Anyway, I want to give the customer something to like kind of pick from, and also something that I'm excited about, I enjoy doing. Not that Kara really borrows. Her family thinks of that as stealing. I mean, yes, that's the point, but they don't live in a house, so it is actually stealing. They're not just relocating an item to another location with the nebulous thought that maybe one day they'll return it, or the fact that it never leaves the house means it's not stealing. I mean, other Lilliputians definitely steal and borrow. Kara's family, not so much. Her dad will raid trash cans, though. Doing a heist together. What would they be stealing? Art supplies? A Tamagotchi? Or a watch? A smartwatch? So that's what I mean about sometimes it's easier for me to think verbally than it is for me to think visually. So now I kind of have this, like it's like an M&M bag that they've got hoisted over their heads. And it would kind of dip in the middle with all the M&Ms, right? Like, so it would be very heavy in the middle. And maybe like something set on a diagonal. Except then you wouldn't, maybe if I drew the face coming out from like this direction. And then I would really need, I feel like I'd really need to pull this out because it's, and then we would need some background too. So like a chair Usually good for easy. And like carpet. I'm trying to think of things that like are kind of objects, human-sized objects that scale well. So you can tell what they are, so it's going to give a sense of scale, it's going to give a sense of place. It's actually one of the reasons I like drawing Kara in the grass so much, is the grass gives really good scale, and it's just really easy to do. Not necessarily easy to draw grass, but it's easy to like understand the scale. So carpet, a chair. I feel like I need to like put like a refrigerator in the background. Wow, can't spell kitchen. And I am actually going to send all of these, or rather, I guess I'm going to curate the best and send those. But yeah, I'm going to send the thumbnails, and we're going to talk about it, and then I'm going to revise from there. And I mean, this is kind of a really enjoyable thing because there's a lot of collaboration, a lot of opportunity to discuss ideas and to work together to come up with something that is even better. So like, what if they were like sneaking out of a grate? So they'd have to lift the grate up, right? My apartment has floor grates. And they lead outside, and it would be super easy for a tiny person to get in and out because they're kind of loose, and then the ones outside are kind of loose. In fact, bugs get in through them all the time. So that would be something that works really, really well. So I kind of want to draw one of the kids. How do I want to do this? I like the floor grate idea, and I like the idea of the M&Ms. Do I want to draw one of the kids in the grate already to like take the M&Ms? Do I want to draw them walking to the grate? That feels kind of static. And then we could zoom in on that. I mean, it depends on the scale. If we draw them tiny and zoomed out, it's going to feel like they're smaller. Obviously, if we draw them zoomed in, you can see what they're doing better, but it makes them look larger. So this is one of those where I'm going to have to talk to the commissioner about it and tell him about that, and then we can decide which would work better. But I think we've come up with some solid ideas. I like the floor grate. I like the M&Ms. I think those are really cute. I think they would make for a really, really cute standalone illustration that kind of tells a story. It's a little humorous. It's not as twee sweet as like, we're gonna eat a cookie. But, you know, the cookie could be fun. I like them lowering a cookie from the table. I like them rolling a cookie, but this isn't as fleshed out. It's just kind of funny. I like them sharing the cookie outside. In fact, this tells a story right here. Stealing the cookie, escaping with the cookie, enjoying the cookie, right? So I just like that. So I think we've got 6 solid thumbnails. I feel like that is enough to sort of get a direction going, get some feedback from the person who is commissioning this, and then we can develop them from there. All right, so we've got an answer on which thumbnail we're going to develop further, and it is cookie running. So I look forward to developing this sketch further and look forward to seeing it come together. I think it's going to be really cute. I will share the stages of progress that I can share with you guys, so keep an eye out for that here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching this thumbnail tutorial / thumbnail demonstration. I hope it was helpful, useful, and informative for you guys. And if you're looking for more comic craft tutorials, check out my Intro to Comic Craft playlist here on the channel and over at nattosoup.blogspot.com. I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope to see you again really soon. Bye, guys!